start. For sure, you've already had your touch of the nature of communication, the the functions of communication. So you've already touched them. And so the subject proceeds with knowing what it means to be communicatively competent and what strategies one can employ to become competent in the field of communication. Communication which could be on a public setup or on a private setup. Recall your experiences. Let's look at it in a public speaking's perspective based on how you did it last year in my public speaking class with you, to some of you. You don't have to give an answer, but try to retrospect. How was I in that public speaking class? Do I consider myself as communicatively competent? Was I not yet competent in my practice of communication? Or when I'm at home, outside of our public speaking class now, when I'm at home, when I'm with my peers, when I'm with my friends, when I was with my classmates in the regular school year, do I consider myself communicatively competent? In those moments that I was not yet communicatively competent, did I employ some communication strategies? So that's hopefully the that's hopefully what this lesson can try to address. To start, we want to know what communicative competence is. Communicative competence is knowing what to say, how to say it, and when to say it. Others might actually know what they want to say, but they probably fail in the manner of saying that idea. In effect, they got misunderstood, misinterpreted by whosoever is listening to them. This is not anymore something new to people who talk among themselves. Even among peers, even among friends, something like this can happen. That is why it's always important, it always helps to remind oneself that once something is to be shared to others, we should really know how to say it and the right time when it should be said, the right occasion when it should be said. I mean, just imagine you got a very good score and you are so happy with it, but your friend got a depressing result in an exam. Because you felt like sharing that good news to your friend, you right away told him, "Hey friend, you know what? My score is really good." And you said it that way. Only to find out, but of course, you didn't know yet that your classmate got a depressing result. How would your classmate probably feel if you are just, because it now appears as though you are really rubbing it into the face of your friend that your score was better than his? Unless, of course, communicative competence would tell you of what you should do. Now, for instance, friend, what's your score? Di ba you begin with that? And your friend would tell you, no, my score is like this. Ah, really? Perhaps you can do better next time. Di ba? That's where your processing can come in. Why? What happened in the test? Why is it that your score ended that way? Than to proceed right away with you bluntly telling your friend, here's my score, friend, oh. So as not to be misinterpreted or misread by the other person you are talking to. What are the three aspects of communicative competence? Accordingly, your module says that it begins with the structural aspect or the knowledge in the form of utterance, which involves pronunciation and grammar. There is actually a fallacy in debate. There's a fallacy of amphibology. The fallacy of amphibology comes out when there is a failure to interpret correctly someone's statement because that other person gave the statement in a structure prone for misinterpretations. So there is a grammatical, the statement is grammatically unsound, making it prone for misinterpretation. The issue is a structural aspect. Pronunciations. For sure, you've heard of people speaking in varying accentuations or dialects. That when you listen to someone from Cebu, there is a particular weight that you hear from that person's voice. For someone who is not accustomed to listening to that tune or to that accent, to that manner of speaking, the other person, or let's assume that person A is from Bohol, person B is from Cebu. There might be some people in Cebu who when person B spoke to person A, the tone was like this. For the record, this will be in the vernacular, but this is mainly for example purposes. Grabe bay, nindot dito sa mua bay. But person A is nga no, hambugiro lagi kayo ka paminawon. See the differences in the dialects? Because that's the way things are pronounced, enunciated in the, perhaps that's how it sounded in Cebu. That's the enunciation and pronunciation deal with Cebu, with Cebuano people. But to them, in Cebu, it does not mean overconfidence. That's just how they say things. But when someone heard it here in Bohol, the impression is the person is overconfident or just too proud of him or herself. That's a structural aspect that needs to be known or understood very well for one to be competent in communication. Another one, lexical aspect. It has something to do now with understanding the words, phrases, or expressions being said. It has now to do with one's knowledge of the vocabulary of the other person he or she is conversing with. This is quite taxing. This is quite demanding. I mean, imagine you talking with someone who is a Chavacano, because you have varying vocabularies. If that person uses a vocabulary in his context, it will not, you can't blame yourself if you can't understand each other, because that vocabulary is not in your register. That's why earlier I said it probably appears taxing on our end to become communicatively competent considering the lexical aspect. Fortunately, you can use connotation and denotation based on how terms are used in context. Or if not, you can look at the word dictionary definition of the word. So for you to know the meaning of that word, you can also look at the use of idioms, understatements, hyperboles, and ironies. For hopefully, hyperbole is not anymore new to you. Hyperbole is a figure of speech as well as lightities and understatement. The third aspect of communicative competence is the socio-cultural aspect. This socio-cultural aspect exists as there is a particular relationship of the speaker and the community or the place where that speaker belongs. The social aspect relating well with people through words and even their actions. The socio-cultural aspect reminds us that the persons we are conversing with have their particular backgrounds. For instance, you might encounter someone who speaks so gently and softly because in the family where that person belongs, that's their practice, that's their culture. You might also encounter someone who is fond of using blunt or blatant or curse words. Have you had this experience listening to someone who curses a lot? And it appears as though using these curse words is just nothing but normal to the person. Because then again, the background of the social environment where the person belongs is also practicing that activity, is into that same practice. The person you're conversing with has imbibed that practice, and then when you heard the person, it appeared not new to you. By having that knowledge, or by having that but by understanding the background of the other person who is having this culture, you would eventually become communicatively competent. If you look at your module, there are also several functions of language in different forms. These functions are also helpful for one to become communicatively competent. That if you want to express your opinion, you use expressions like, I think, I believe, in my humble words, in my humble opinion. If you want to be able to interrupt a speaker, there are expressions to do it. You can say, excuse me, may I interrupt you for a while. Please pardon me by asking. Pardon my asking. Making and accepting apologies, you have expressions like, I'm sorry, I apologize, that's nothing. You also have asking for, giving, and rejecting advice. You have asking for, offering, accepting, rejecting help, asking for and giving directions, giving and responding to compliments, and making requests. But apart from knowing these functions of language in different forms, still we have to know the competence in specific functions of language. First, we need to understand the non-literal use of words or expressions. There are expressions which have underlying meanings, metaphorical meanings, and they are to be understood not in the literal way. Of course, you have expressed one clear example here is hid under the bed. You can of course have your common idiomatic expressions or figurative expressions like you are you have considered yourself you're the breadwinner in the family. So that is an expression that should not be understood in its literal interpretation. You also have avoid you also try to consider avoiding topics or unproductive comments. Communicative competence means that a person knows what topics to avoid and what comments should be not given out. This is where you should exercise tact, TACT, to be careful with your choice of words or topics to be shared to other people. The ability of being tactful is more or less a requirement in communicative competence. Though you are urged or you are in the need to say something rude, still try to consider what the consequences may be if you proceed to saying something as a rude expression. Exercise tact, care, and caution whenever you say something or whenever you talk of a particular topic. The last competence that in relation to these functions is to understand non-verbal cues. While communication thrives in verbal expressions, there are of course non-verbal cues that you should not ignore. Non-verbal cues are as powerful perhaps as verbal cues. To some, they're even more meaningful. That if someone snubs you, that already bears more meaning compared to being really told of not being interested in you. Sometimes people find it more impactful to understand a non-verbal cue than to listen to a verbal expression. Diba? Like when you ask someone, let's have this example. Someone, Josh asked me, "Sir, do you hate me?" "Sir, no, it's between a boy and a girl lang." Josh asked Sure, "Sir, do you like me?" And then Sure said, "What if the answer?" Let's try to create the situation, Sure. Let's try to put it this way. I will not make the responses. You respond, Sure. You respond. Respond, Sure, using words. Using words, ha? Go, Josh. Josh, you ask the question, Josh. Go. Josh, just for discussion's sake, Josh. My gosh. Communicative competence. Communicative competence. Don't forget. Go.
Madam, are you?
Ma Last time I checked, the name of Sher is Sher how do I read that? Sher Clarmel Garay. The word madam is not in her name. Josh, we just say it, Josh.
Sir,
Josh,
do you
wait.
reciprocate the same feelings I have for you?
Try to say something about it, Sher. Go.
No, because I like someone else.
Outs gege.
Compared to, okay, Sher already gave a response. Sure, try to respond to that by not saying anything, but by showing a non-verbal cue. Okay, again, Josh. Question.
Sure, do you like me?
Try a more harsh verbal cue, sir. Go, Josh. Again, Josh.
Do you like me?
Of course, be sincere with your question, Josh. I know that this is just for an example's sake, for discussion's sake, but try to be sincere about it. Go, Josh.
Um, like me, sure.
Sure, responsorial sum. Let our response be. Be harsh, be harsh. Be rude, sure, be rude.
You do it here
I
like
don't know. Like, probably you'll roll your eye, or you'll probably roll your eye, or like,
yeah, that one.
or you'll be like, but of course, these are just extreme responses. But that's to point out that perhaps to some, a non-verbal cue would probably have more impact than a verbal cue, than a verbal answer. That is why it pays so much that in the context of communicative competence, you should really understand non-verbal cues. Let's have another pair. Like, let's have another pair. Let's have another pair. Alan is preparing himself. I know, Alan, that you knew that I'm going to call you. Alan, for sure, Alan, you felt that the next request will be made from you. Okay, Alan, you say it to Lucia, Alan. Say the same words that Josh said to Sher. I'd like to also see the Lucia's angle there is kind of dark. I can't see her face. I'd like to really see Lucia's face when the question pops out.
Yeah, do you love me, Loch?
Wait, I think the meaning there is different, Alan. What? Why does it sound not romantic, but sorry for the term, perverted? I think there was a different intention behind the question, Alan. You sounded like a stalker to Lucia and that you want to get a positive response from her. Lucia, look at the reaction of Lucia. Lucia is not saying anything, but look at the non-verbal reaction to the question. Again, Alan, give it another try. Wait, this is your chance. For sure, later, no, when the class ends, you'll contact your classmate. What about the
Loch,
question?
do you love
There.
me, Loch?
Wow, aggressive. Lucia? Alan, how did it feel when Lucia is shaking her head now? How did it feel, Alan?
It's fine, sir.
Heartbroken? But let's do it between boys, between boys, but not with the same line, not with the same line, not with the same line. What line could you probably say to a boy that yields a non-verbal cue? Who has a sister here? Who among the class has a sister? Sean. No, older sister, older sister. Okay, Alan. Rans. Wait, I will not. I will send a private message to you, Rans, ha? And this is what I'd like you to say to Alan, so that Alan won't be ready. Alan won't be prepared. I think that's what really made it really scripted earlier, because you knew all along what line to expect. Rans, I want you to say this line well, like give justice to the line, Rans. Alan, I'd like to see your genuine reaction. Genuine, your real reaction to this line. Alan, ha? Okay, Rans, here's the line. Don't read it out loud yet. Process the line, Rans. Process the line. And then say it properly. Give justice to it. Allen and Rans, go.
Alan, I find your sister very attractive. Can I have her contact number, please?
Hell no.
Look at the, have you seen the initial reaction of Alan? He moved back. He did this. That's a non-verbal cue. That's a non-verbal cue that is to be interpreted and understood by by the person involved in that communication. So Rands, when Alan moved back a bit, what did that tell you?
I think he was shocked.
He was shocked. And then when he said, hell no, what did that tell you, Rands?
The sister is protected by Alan himself.
And that he's not, do you think Alan is interested with whatever you're feeling for his sister?
No, I think Alan is just protecting his sister.
Protecting his sister. Okay, let's have another person. I'll send a private message to whom will I send this? Rodney, is your internet connection doing well? Fine now, Rodney?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll send a private message to you, Rodney, ha? And then, to whom will Rodney say this? Okay. Rodney, please give justice to this line. And Edson, can you turn your camera on, son? And son, can you angle yourself where we could see your reaction, your expression? There. Edson, ha, I hope to get your genuine response when you hear this. Rodney, please give, my simple request, Rodney, please give justice to this line. Here's the line, Rodney. Please give justice to that line, Rodney. Rodney is practicing for sure. She turned her camera off because she's practicing there at home how she wants to say the line. No, Rodney, no, that's what you did.
No, sir, because I'm using a tab bitaw, sir, and
Oh,
when I open the chat
I
box,
thought
it
you're just
will
trying
not
to ready
open.
yourself but for how that line is to be said. Anyway, the line is a
Wait.
simple line. Rodney, ha, let's give justice to this. Son, please, I hope you are going to show your genuine reactions. From the genuine reactions are the ones we are going to interpret as they are non-verbal cues. Rodney, express what you need to express from that line.
Sir, do I have to mention his name first before
If you want to, it's fine. If you want to, it's fine. Go. Rodney, are we ready? Oh, taking time to process it. Sonha, be ready. Okay.
I'm ready, sir.
Go.
Edson, I hate you so much. I wish I never knew you. Your presence means nothing. You are just so worthless.
The reaction of, I was hoping that it could be more intense. I was hoping that it would lead to a losing of one friend, diba? Son, Edson will be our last for today. I'll let you say this to someone, son, ha? Say this to Christopher. Wait, how will I? The line comes out easier and faster if it's in the vernacular, ba? But let's just do it in English. Son, give justice to this line. Christopher, Christopher's already laughing. We hope to see the genuine response of Christopher once you say this line, son. Give justice on ha. Give justice. Give justice. Christopher is just waiting. We'll see what Christopher's reaction is. Ready, son?
Do I have to say for the hon part?
Yeah, you'll have to read it. Huh? Huh? Like that. Huh? Huh? Like that. Huh? Give justice. Give justice. Give justice. Give justice. Go. Are we ready, son?
Can I not say the
First part, sir? My God, you can't just say the first part. Well, you have to say it. Others now know what you're trying to say.
No, can I not?
Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Go. You will proceed with the first question.
Like, I'll just call his name.
Okay. Go. Okay. Ready? Edson, give justice so that by giving justice to the line, son, we can get the genuine non-verbal cues as your response from Christopher. Go, Edson.
Christopher, what do you want, huh? Why are you texting her? What do you need from her? Back off! She's mine. Back off.
Christopher was just holding his laughter for sure. Christopher was just holding it in, living the song of don't let them in, don't let them see. See, these non-verbal cues mean so much. Whenever we say something to the other person, these verbal cues, awkward. What do you want to happen, son? That Christopher really starts texting her? For it to be really genuine and true? Huh? I have her contact number, son, because she's my advisory student. Oh. It will not become awkward soon, son. No. Don't worry, son. I will not do it. Don't worry. I will not. So, of course, that's communicative competence. The last part of which is by being able to understand non-verbal cues. To achieve communicative competence, we are given some communicative strategies, starting with nomination. You don't have to write these things in the module in your copy, because I'll send a copy of this to you through our Edmodo wall in Oralcom. Communication is being able to employ or to open up a topic, to employ a topic open for discussion. So it's like nominating a topic. When you nominate a topic, the concept of nominating a topic is you are putting forth a topic to be discussed. I mean, the speaker is the one who will present or establish a topic, subject for collaborative and productive discussion between or among persons communicating. Restriction is another communicative strategy where you set limits to where that discussion is going to go. You're going to establish up the extent to where that discussion is going to end. Turn taking as a communicative strategy is giving chances for others to also have their turn in speaking. Turn taking tells you that no one shall manipulate supposedly the conversation. Especially unless, of course, the purpose is for one person to be the only one that's going to be heard. Like, for instance, if it's a classroom discussion of this sort, where all of the input probably will have to come first from the teacher, but if the turn of the students come, then the teacher will have to give the opportunity to the students. Just like what we did earlier. The performance of those competencies did not only come from me. I mean, they came from you. I gave you the turn. The conversational floor was given to you as your chance to come. Topic control is knowing how to develop the topic and to also choose what kind of topic. Remember, avoiding topics or unproductive comments is one competence that communicators have to also practice. Topic shifting is another one. To change from one topic to another. To know where one topic ends and another topic where another topic begins. Repair is another communicative strategy where the speaker knows how to fix something that's awkward or wrong with a conversation. Like the one that Edson expressed earlier, something was awkward already, something felt awkward. Let's assume that it happened in a group of three. Edson, Josh, and Christopher were have gathered together, and then Edson said something like that to Christopher. So Josh probably felt that there's something that he should do to repair this social interaction. So Josh will come in by probably mediating between the two of them, or Josh will introduce a new topic that will pacify the heated conversation between Edson and Christopher. Lastly, termination is a communicative strategy. It is the ability to put an end to a conversation or to a topic. The ability to know when the topic is supposed to be ended or terminated. Mostly, the topic initiator, the one who starts the topic, is the one who will also end that conversation. It's the one given the responsibility to end the conversation. In as much as these communicative strategies are there, there are also some other strategies that we could do to prevent the breakdown in a conversation. These other strategies, communication support strategies, are also found in your module. You have to ask for clarification. If something is unclear, if something is in doubt, you ask for a clarification. You rephrase. It's something part of the clarification is the process of rephrasing. For something to become clear or more understandable, it needs to be rephrased. It needs to be placed in words that are understandable or in the level of the person you are communicating with. Using nonverbal language also helps. If someone is feeling depressed, a pat at the back will help. If someone is feeling sad, a hug or offering a shoulder will help. These nonverbal languages help helps prevent a breakdown in communication. And lastly, you build on what others have said, meaning you use the ideas that others have said. You try to capitalize on the ideas shared by others. You develop these ideas further. You elaborate the ideas that they've shared. You use their ideas to supplement your opinions. That's building on what others have said. Questions regarding communicative competence and communicative strategies. So I understand there are 5 questions there. There's also FT2. If you look at FT2, you prepare a speech about the differences between cultures, such as Filipino versus Thai and Filipino. Regarding particular cause, explain what constitutes an acceptable behavior and how to communicate competently in each situation. May I just know,